I have been using 8 Sleep for over a year now, and if you never saw my original review of the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover, it actually ended up being my favorite recovery product of that year. With the ability to adjust the temperature on both sides of the bed individually, and to have that temperature change throughout the night based on your various sleep phases, which can have a big effect on the quality of your sleep. So I'm obviously a big fan of what 8 Sleep has to offer, and for the past month, I've been testing out the newly upgraded 8 Sleep Pod 3, which promises improved sensor technology and a higher powered quad-core CPU to enable real-time data from these sensors to respond faster to changes in your sleep. On top of that, this time around, I've been testing it all on their Pod 3 Max mattress, so I'll be able to give you some insight into the differences between using the 8 Sleep Pod Pro cover versus the full mattress setup. Does the new 8 Sleep Pod 3 live up to the hype? Let's find out. This is Colin Jenkins with Connect the Watts, where we cover the latest in connected fitness. So if you like and want more content like this, make sure to subscribe. Now, 8 Sleep, whether you opt for the Pod Pro cover or the mattress, it is the mattress cover that holds a thin layer of water that is hooked up to a smart hub, which can adjust the temperature from as low as 55 degrees to as high as 110 degrees. The temperature is adjusted separately on each side of the bed, so you can have two accounts connected to the same bed and adjust each side separately. You can adjust this temperature manually via the app, but more importantly, you can create an automatic sleep schedule, which will set 8 Sleep to adjust between 4 set temperatures while you are asleep. A bedtime temperature to help you go to sleep, a temperature for deep sleep, which isn't really accurate. It's really a temperature for the first half of the night, which is where you'll generally get the most deep sleep, a REM sleep temperature, which again isn't entirely accurate, but it is the temperature set for the second half of your sleep, which is generally where you'll get most of your REM sleep. And then there's an optional wake up temperature, which is a temperature that you can set as an alarm clock, which is a feature that I really love to use because instead of having to hear an alarm or use a vibration, I have the 8 Sleep set to get really hot in the morning, which helps wake me up more gradually and naturally. Now, there is also an optional vibrational alarm, so you can set the bed to wake you up in that way, and you can control the intensity of this vibration as well. And while this too works on each side of the bed separately, I found that even on the lowest setting, it's still loud enough to wake up your partner on the other side of the bed. And given that you need to open up your phone and the app to turn the alarm off, I find it much better in general just to set the temperature alarm, which I prefer anyways because of how much better I feel when I wake up that way. The 8 Sleep cover also has tons of sensors which not only track your sleep, but also your tosses and turns, your sleeping heart rate, respiratory rate, and most importantly, your heart rate variability, or HRV, which is really the best metric we have to determine your state of recovery and how well your body is adapting to stress and training. Now, after testing this against various devices like Whoop, the Apple Watch, and several other smart devices, I found the heart rate tracking to be pretty spot on, but the respiratory rate and the HRV aren't quite as accurate as some other options. The respiratory rate seems especially off on the 8 Sleep, and I thought this might have to do with me putting a mattress protector over it, something that I highly suggest you do since you can't really wash the actual 8 Sleep mattress cover. But even when I slept with the mattress protector off, the low respiratory readings seemed to stay the same. The HRV tracking here seems to now provide lower numbers than most devices, though it does tend to go up and down in line with other HRV tracking devices, so it's still going to be useful as most of them. Though I did have quite a few nights where the HRV recordings definitely seemed off compared to other devices, and I'm not sure if I slept differently or had a pillow underneath me or what, but every once in a while you could tell that the tracking was off. So for me, I really don't pay too much attention to 8 Sleep's metrics since I have other devices that I feel do that better, and that really isn't the reason that I use 8 Sleep for. It's really the temperature adjustment that you can set through the night, which is the true value of having 8 Sleep, and it's something after having used it for over 1 year that I would hate to now have to live without. It really has made a huge difference on my sleep quality and my recovery. Plus, when it gets hot, there is no better feeling than sliding into a bed that feels nice and cold. I'm telling you, that is a great feeling. Now, 8 Sleep also offers an optional 8 Plus Pro membership, which adds personalized intelligence to the pod's capabilities via what they call the temperature autopilot. Now, what the temperature autopilot does is it looks at your sleep quality, your ideal thermal environment, and the ambient conditions to automatically adjust the temperature of your bed to optimize your sleep. The 8 Plus Pro membership also includes more in-depth metric and sleep tracking and comes with a library of various content like yoga, meditation, and guided breathing to help improve your bedtime routine. At $19 per month or $15 per month with the purchase of a Pod 3, it might be worth it if you don't use any other smart devices, but if you already have something like a smartwatch, I'm not sure that the autopilot by itself is really worth that monthly subscription. Usually I just have the temperature the same night to night and make small adjustments as experiments from time to time, and that seems to have worked really well so far. Okay, so now let's talk about the difference between the Pod 2 and the Pod 3. And to be quite frank, there really isn't a whole lot that is different here. There's a new 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi support for the core. There's now what they call invisible sensing, which basically means that the sensors have been made a little smaller so that the mattress cover is more comfortable, but I honestly couldn't tell much of a difference. And there is a higher powered quad core CPU and 4,000 times the sensor tracking resolution, which, to be fair, I think has made the HRV tracking significantly better. As with the Pod 2, I found the HRV to sort of be all over the place and not be very accurate at all. But sleeping heart rate tracking and respiratory rate don't seem to be changed much at all here. As far as the actual sleep tracking goes, it's really hard for me to tell if it has been improved or not. I mean, I assume it has been improved, but since there isn't really a good standard for tracking your sleep at home yet to compare it to, most are usually off by quite a bit, it's really hard to tell. So I'm not really sure I would suggest an upgrade to the Pod 3 unless you really want to use 8 Sleep as your HRV tracking tool, and then probably use the autopilot adjustment based on that more accurate data. That out of the way, what I really want to discuss is the difference between using the Pod Pro cover compared to the actual full 8 Sleep mattress. And the mattress that I've been using this past month is the Pod 3 Max, which is a 6-layer mattress with what 8 Sleep calls a Max Chill layer, which is a layer infused with silver, copper, and graphite for better heat dissipation. So using this mattress compared to the Pod Pro cover, I can tell you one thing. The temperature changes are significantly better. And not that the Pod Pro cover was bad at all with this, because I thought it was pretty great. But where I was pretty comfortable with the coldest temperature while using it, with the Pod 3 mattress, it feels a lot colder, and it also feels quite a bit hotter as well at the higher temperatures. Now, whether you need these lower or higher temperature adjustments is up to you, but the difference is noticeable. And in terms of how the mattress itself feels to lay on, it feels pretty great. I had heard previously that 8 Sleep mattresses were really firm, and I don't know where I heard that from, but it is definitely not accurate. The bed is significantly softer than the mattress I was using previously, and not that it is too soft either, but it definitely has some give, which is actually ideal for somebody like me. Generally, if you work out a lot or if you lift weights, softer mattresses tend to be a bit better for you. And I weigh 200 pounds and my wife weighs closer to 100 pounds, and both of us feel really happy with how the mattress feels, so I definitely recommend it if you need a new mattress as well. So at the end of the day, even though I don't think that the Pod 3 improvements are really that significant, and I don't think the metric tracking is all that great compared to some of the better wearables out there, I do still highly recommend 8 Sleep. It is still one of my favorite tech products that I have ever used, and they have me by the hook. There's just no way I'd want to go back to sleeping without something like this. You can learn more about 8 Sleep via the link in the video description below, and while you scroll down there, make sure to hit that like button if this video helped you out. Appreciate it a lot, and thanks for watching.